are here today to talk about Google Analytics 4. If you don't know us, I'm Pip from Seymour Digital Media, and this is
Phelan, also from Seymour Digital Media.
Our powers combined, we help businesses make data-driven decisions to get more leads and sales. So that's kind of our gig. And we come on here every Thursday to discuss the great things of marketing. Today is all about Google Analytics 4. And let me just bring up, because I got so excited about getting here. The session today is all about, what are we talking about today? Phelan, we're talking about traffic acquisition, conversion paths, keeping tabs on some things, some actionable advice, and audience building. So let's dive right in. Bam. Yeah. So why are we talking about Google Analytics today, Phelan? You tell me.
Well, if you're just running your own website and you're doing your own marketing, you still want to be able to analyze and figure out, is it working? If it's not working, where are people coming to your website? Where are they dropping off? You're trying to figure out those things. So Google Analytics 4 is super powerful for anyone to be able to look at it and make decisions on, is the Google ads that I'm spending money on, is it working compared to Google Organic or social media? If you're driving traffic to landing pages and are they converting? Are they not converting? What's the rate? These are all things that you want to be looking at because it's super important for you to be able to make money. I will say, like an anecdote we have that I always use as a reference point is we were working with someone and they were selling jewelry and they were spending a lot of money on Instagram ads, and the Instagram ads were driving a lot of traffic but no sales because they were e-commerce. And what was actually driving all the sales was the custom made products that were done through Google ads. And these are data driven decisions that you can look at by having it set up and having your conversions set up and making sure that you're tracking everything that's going through your system. It's going to be super important.
Right. So, yeah, a lot of people have Google Analytics. A lot of people, now have just Google Analytics 4 because Universal has turned itself off. But a lot of people get really overwhelmed with analytics, right? So it's great to have it. It's great that you have the plugin on your website that tells you a couple things. But that's supposed to be your diving off point. That's supposed to get you to go into analytics and start digging around and learning some stuff. And all the terminology is kind of new because, sort of new, not all of it. And it's because Google Analytics has changed to Google Analytics 4. So I think what you see often is people have Google Analytics, but they don't know really what to do with it after that, besides look at some cursory numbers.
Yeah. After you've set up conversions, I think that's going to be the most important one, which is going to be a topic for another day, how to set those up and what tool to use, which is Tag Manager. But generally, what you want to do is have your conversion set up. You've tested them, you know that they work. And so now what you're doing is you're going to first go over to the traffic acquisition. So if you're in Google Analytics, you'll see on the left-hand side, it'll say reports, and then from reports you're going to go to acquisition and then traffic acquisition.
Okay, wait, you gotta draw me a picture because I see it's so funny. I was gonna share a screen today. I was gonna make us share a screen and do something super uber cool. Hi. But I decided not to because I want us to be able to direct people properly. Like if I were to close my eyes and I couldn't see, where are you sending me? So I'm signing into Google Analytics, and this is the first place we would recommend you go and look in Google Analytics 4 to start making data-driven decisions. So Phelan, guide me.
Yeah,
slowly,
so you're going to have
quickly.
the left-hand side is going to have a vertical menu, and there's going to be 4 options, and the second one is report. So once you click on reports, it'll open up new windows based on, you can pick and choose which ones are visible, but almost always there's going to be one called acquisition will be the top. And that has, once you click on it, it'll say user acquisition and traffic acquisition. We're going for traffic acquisition.
Okay. Traffic acquisition. And why are we going there?
User acquisition is more like, I want to know what type of people I'm bringing to my site so that I'll have mobile, the demographic data.
Okay.
Location, device type, operating system, stuff that can be interesting, but is generally not as useful as traffic. So what's the source that's driving people to my website? Because almost always you're making some sort of marketing effort, whether it's social media, SEO, or paid ads, or paid social ads.
Yeah, or just spending time online talking to people, or like, no matter what kind of business you are, you're trying to drive business to you. And so what avenues are you utilizing to try to do that, and are you tracking what those avenues are doing? Now, that being said, can you really see like Instagram traffic or Facebook traffic or TikTok traffic coming into Google Analytics?
Yeah, so all these platforms do a really good job out of the box of putting UTM parameters on there, so it makes it easy for Google Analytics to capture this, because Facebook or Instagram or TikTok want to tell you, hey, we drove this traffic, so they're going to put their little UTM parameters on there. So they do a really good job of this out of the box. Facebook ads or Meta ads is the only one where you have to set up a special tracking URL.
Okay.
And that,
Is
yeah, they're kind of bad about letting you know that it was a paid ad versus organic.
Okay. And you can do that with a UTM parameter though, that
Yeah.
isn't there a landing page you can go to and it can help you build the UTM parameters pretty easily, and you just fill in the blanks
It's actually within the ads platform itself. So if you
on
open up
Facebook or
yeah,
Google?
on
Oh.
Facebook, yeah, they actually have a little spot, but they don't make it very obvious that that's what it is. So it's near the very end of when you're building your ads, it'll say tracking URL, and then if you click on that, you can even set up, like, I like to set it up with like dynamic information that gets filled in. So I want to know the campaign name. I want to know. I
Mm,
usually do the source as the placement. So was it Instagram? Was it like a marketplace? Was it Facebook
mm.
desktop?
Yeah, we should
Um,
actually explain source and medium, because this is something that you'll see and you want to see in Google Analytics. So there's all these terms you got to learn, and slowly but surely, if you hear them over and over again, you'll get it. I got it. So if I can get it, you can. And so what is source? That's like
Source is going to be
Google,
the
Facebook,
yeah.
the
So like an example would be Google is going to be the source. Now the medium is going to either be organic,
paid, yeah,
CPC, so
which is
that's going to be
paid.
paid, and then you can also do product syncs if you're doing e-commerce and you have a merchant center account, and that's telling you that it's coming from organic shopping.
Hmm.
Um, so all these things are kind of help you know that it's like Google's sending you the traffic, but what is it under Google that's actually the medium in which they found you. So if
Hmm.
you're paying to get in front of people, are they in the display network? So cross network. Um, and so, yeah, that'll definitely show up in your analytics that you'll have them split out. And it's important to have these separated out that way of like kind of subcategories of being the medium.
Right. And
One
so
other
we're go.
one,
We're oh, so go on.
sorry, there's going to be one other variant of this as well. Sorry, it just
Yeah.
came back to me was your email marketing. So setting up UTM parameters on specific email campaigns, and when people click on the links and go to specific pages from specific campaigns, that should also be tracked, and you should be tracking those, because then you can find out, oh, this email was the one that actually got them to click and convert.
Yeah,
And
because we
so,
know a lot of people don't just go from an ad or from a Facebook thing and fill out a form and buy product. I mean, once in a while it can happen. Like somebody can type into Google tree stuff and then hire a tree feller. Um,
yeah,
but right, that happened. It was actually tree stuff. Anyway, it's really interesting. So we're in acquisition. That's where we're looking for where the business is coming in. So, but Facebook also has a pixel. So how does that work with Google Analytics? Tell me the things.
they're actually running in parallel to each other.
Who?
So what's happening is that the Facebook Pixel and the Google Analytics are both tracking. They're both going to be off from each other. Just the nature of how they both collect information. It's not going to be like a one to one. And so what happens is that with the Facebook Pixel, it's not sending data the same way. It's more focused on audience and then specific events that you've set up for your Pixel. So a really good example is like e-commerce, and so it could tell you that it's like, oh, you did really well with I don't know, 35 to 45-year-olds who completed the checkout, but like 45 to 55-year-olds got to the add to cart but didn't actually go to the checkout.
And so that can tell you, yeah, that's really interesting, because that can tell you things like, okay, maybe I should be talking to an older audience, or maybe the people on my website, you know, maybe the people coming there are different than the people walking in my door if you have like a, you know, brick and mortar.
Yeah. And as well, that I wouldn't overly depend on the Facebook pixel, the Google Analytics, because Facebook really restricted some of the information just since 2016. They've just been more hesitant to overly collect and share information about users, which I think is overall for the betterment of their platform. But Google Analytics did a better job at striking that balance for the privacy concerns, and so it collects I would say a richer amount of information.
Okay. Do you want both then? Like, because you can do retargeting with Facebook, and a lot of people do Facebook retargeting and Google retargeting, right? And so would you want the pixel for that, and you want the Google Analytics tracking for the retargeting too, right? Because that's we're going to dive into that a little later, the lists.
Well, I was actually just going to front load that right now because we're talking about it. So basically, it's never a bad idea to have both of them going, and to make sure that your conversions are set up for the pixel as well. So events, specifically named events, so like contact form filled. You know, if you can send that to the
Facebook. Okay, yeah, neat.
Because what it does is you say later on, in Facebook, you can say, find me a lookalike audience for the people who completed this event. So if you already have a conversion type, and then it finds you the lookalike audiences, which Facebook does do better than Google Analytics right now, or Google Ads right now.
But now you can make audiences inside Google Analytics and pull them into Google Ads, and it's super easy to make audiences now with Google Analytics, right?
Yeah, and so moving over to Google Analytics with the audiences, they do a much better. It used to be a lot more complicated because you had to set up, because it wasn't event-based. So this way you can now do much more targeted event-based marketing. So we can say, of all the people that made it to this landing page, getting to the landing page is one event, but they didn't do the event of fill out form. Okay, so that makes a specific audience of did one event, didn't do a second event. And so once you set that up, and also these audiences are not retrospective. You can't go back and say, hey,
set them up like 10 years from now. Yeah,
exactly. So it's always better to set these up as soon as you have the event tracking, and just start collecting as much of that information, because they'll hold on to those audiences for 540 days, they say.
Right, but even so, just having the audience building there, because you need 1,000 to work in Google Ads, number one, for retargeting. Google
so YouTube's 100, Gmail's 500, display's 1,000.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they're all weirdly split out at different levels. I don't know why, but
it's about the audience building, though. I think that's the most important part. So, okay, we're going to jump back to audience building in a little bit. But so for now, let's just go back to conversion. Let's go back to traffic acquisition, right? So we talked about traffic acquisition and how people are coming to you and where they're coming to you. And if you're doing any sort of marketing, this is where you want to start to get comfortable in that area in Google Analytics 4. Now, then we talked about the conversion path and the steps people take to convert. So because
we haven't touched on that yet.
No? Okay. I just always talk about that. So I guess
we're always talking about it, but we haven't actually brought it up specifically in how to use it. But it's like how we went to reports and then acquisition. This one is going to be advertising. It's the last one in the...
Okay, wait. So let's go back. Close your eyes. Go all the way over to the left-hand side after you've gone into Google Analytics and you're on the home screen. You're going to go, and there's going to be the vertical menu or on the left-hand side. And so you're going to open up. It's going to say home, and you're clicking into where to see advertising. Ooh, traffic acquisition is the only one I actually read. Is it now? Well, you're going to read more after today.
Yeah. So the traffic acquisition is definitely one probably spend the most time in because it's a really good jumping off point to look at other spots in the analytics. So it's not a bad thing that that's the one you do spend the most time with. The other one to really look at that I find very useful is the traffic or the conversion path. So once you have conversions set up, it's showing you all the touch points that happened along the way before someone converted. So where that is in the left-hand vertical menu. You're going to go down all the way to the bottom, advertising. From advertising, that'll open up a bunch of new options. The last one on the list is conversion paths. And what that does is it shows, like, for example, like just off the top of my head, like, so your conversion is going to be contact form filled. So was it the ad, and then they saw you organically, they saw an organic social media post, and then they converted? Like, all these steps along the way uh, are ones that you can track out. You can also track how many touch points as well as how many days. So one interesting one that we saw was that it was a high kind of high end private school,
Oh.
and
Oh yeah.
yeah. So what happened with them was that they were having parents visit the website. Like, we could see the number of people. These were all unique users that were visiting the website up to 20 times over the course of 2 months before actually converting.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And
that showed us that
yeah.
they needed more prompts. That what it's like, that's interesting information because then we can
Well,
look at where they're
so much
landing.
more. Yeah, there's so much in that, right? There's where they're landing. If we took them 20 times to convert, maybe we do a survey when they come in, because it's a school, because it's expensive. Maybe we get feedback on the website, right? We noticed that they weren't doing a lot of things that they needed to be doing. That it was hard to get things done though with that company.
Yeah.
There is a question here that we're going to answer, and thank you for saying it's interesting information, but it's if you don't have conversion set up. So if you don't have conversion set up, can you see the conversion path? No, but you can see the path, right, Phelan? Like, you can see a path, but if it's not set up, you can't know
It's not going to be
what can't you
specific to,
know?
like, a
Yeah.
user. Like, we had a user that saw a social media post, saw us organically, or just directly converted off of like an ad.
Well,
So
and this
yeah,
is yeah.
and so there's also a little split here, because in Google Analytics 4, what you're doing is you'd use Tag Manager to send an event, and that event, once it's in the system, you can then convert it over to a conversion,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like a special type of event. So it's kind of like everything in Google Analytics 4 is an event, like page loading, scrolling to the bottom of the page. Like, these are all events.
Converting 25%. You can track anything you want. Everything is an event. So you just have to decide what's the most important events that
Yeah.
you want to track. And we have a free video to show you how to do this, actually, which just message me after and I'll get that to you. If you want to try to set up conversions yourself, because, without conversions, it's really hard to figure out. Yeah. So, frozen screen. What?
Yeah, that was me. My internet was glitching out for a second there, but I am back
Are you
now.
back? I am
Yeah,
back.
no, I've been back. I made sure to
There.
close all the extra tabs that been paused.
Okay, I have a newer computer. Ooh, okay, it's Aura's here. Hey, Aura, it looks like you have to go like my Facebook business page so I can see your face in there. And hi, Dorothy. Great to be with you guys. I can't see you, but I'd love to. Okay, back to yeah. It's very challenging. Analytics can be, but it's really fun when we stop being afraid, right, Phelan?
Yeah, we're getting frozen again. I mean, I'm not
I
getting
don't
any.
feel frozen. There you go. I'm good. How do you know?
Yeah.
No, okay. Thank you, Dorothy Phelan. Is that you or me? I'll close out some things too. Weirdo McFeardo. Thank you for letting us know. We'll get that sorted. Hopefully, get it sorted. There. I got too excited about having things open. I think me too. Bam, bam.
Oh,
But let's.
okay. So we're okay now.
Yeah.
So One of the other big ones that I wanted to touch on, because we also have to make an announcement at the end of this, is that there's one other tab or two tabs, two reports that, again, you go back to where there's the traffic acquisition. You'll also see two other reports by default that are the landing page report and the pages and screens report.
Yeah, what are those? That wasn't prepped at all.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so inside, so I think, whenever we get on here and talk analytics stuff, we're also going to talk about definitions because they're super important. So we got landing pages and we have screens and pages. So
Yeah.
define landing pages to me according to Google Analytics.
So landing page report is the entry point. So it doesn't matter where they go after that, but it's the first touch point on your website that happens. So this is really important for if you're driving your SEO and you're getting a lot of people to your website. They get to a blog post and then they make it over to your service pages and fill out the form. That's going to be important information for you to track, because that landing page may be converting really well, and so you want to see where where they land on your website, and so they get to see, even if they go to another page and they convert on that page, we know that the landing page there was the entry point for the conversion. And then the difference between that and the pages and screens is the actual when they have the conversion column there in that report, that's specifically the page they converted on. So there's
Okay.
sometimes going to be a difference, right? So they may land on a blog post and then make it over to your service page, but they convert on the service page. So these are going to be important.
Oh, that's really good to know.
Yeah, so it's an important little distinction that if you have a funnel or something like that, that is going to be super important for you to kind of keep track of that as well, because you may have some pages that they don't convert, but they do drive a lot of traffic that does convert on your website.
Interesting.
So
Laura's asking a really interesting question. She's asking, what if your conversions happen to be on a third-party platform, like, say, Acuity or, or something like that?
Yeah.
What happens there?
So, say for example, with Acuity, we have this with a client that uses Acuity for all of her bookings, and so what we did is we set up the Google Analytics for on the Acuity, and what happens is a lot of these platforms will, kind of like how Shopify does, they'll feed the events to you. Acuity does it through the purchase conversion, which is a default conversion that every Google Analytics 4 account is set up with, and so they've also done some weird things with it as well. So the conversion path's really good. It's beautiful, but it actually doesn't do as well with the traffic and acquisition because it doesn't send it as a conversion. I don't know how they do this. They send it as a conversion with the full path, but they don't send it as a conversion to as a metric that you can go against.
And this is where we sometimes get into mind-numbing things in Google Analytics 4. It's really interesting, though, I believe, because it's new. It's new for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're all learning together. So I don't think anybody should feel dumb. Set up GA4 on Acuity, like I would need to have a GA4 for Acuity. Interesting. I think you are set up, because I think we might have helped with that, and we would have at the time set you up with GA4. So it should be in there, but
and you should have the one code for, if you have a different, unless it's an entirely different website, I would have one data stream for all of these ones. Because
all of these ones,
all like Acuity and your website, I would have the same
data stream. Yeah.
Same
okay.
It's kind of pedantic to kind of get into what the data stream is, but what basically you need to know is like your website and how it connects with Acuity should all be like the same G code that goes for Google Analytics 4. And the reason for that is because you want to have the conversions tied with the rest of your traffic, so you can kind of track how people are interacting with all of your systems you have set up. It makes it easier to kind of see the whole path.
And this is over time. We want to see the path because we want to do things like, okay, if I'm doing marketing and most of my traffic is, say, coming from the phone, I definitely want to check my web pages or my landing pages or my pages and screens for how they look on a phone. Maybe I'll try different phones, like my different friends' phones, right? Yeah. The G code does make sense. Actually, the G tag has all been replaced, right? Like they're all one tag now.
Kind of. They made it more confusing, I'll be honest. In the last like 6 months, they've decided that that wasn't enough, and they changed how it interacts with Tag Manager. It's not my favorite, but
I will tell you that we are constantly learning. There are lots of moving elements between Google Ads, Google Analytics, Tag Manager. Search Console stays pretty well. It had big changes years ago, and still people don't talk about it enough. And that is your secret weapon, which we're doing a free class on in March, I think. So, but GA4, tell us if people are viewing on dark mode. Ooh. That's interesting. I'm not sure.
Yes, you can theoretically set that
Why
up.
would it matter?
You can do it. It would be very complicated to set it up. But basically, you would have to set up a listener that if someone clicks from light mode to dark mode, that gets sent as an event. That would be the way to do it. You can do it. It would just be a lot of work to set that up, or unless there's like an out of the box, someone's already written the listener code.
If you want to see your events in Google Analytics, you would go where, Phelan?
You go to, so you would go to, again, we're left-hand vertical menu. You're going to go to reports. Under reports, you're going to go to engagement. Engagement will have events and conversions.
So we check events, and it'll show if they're turned on or off. And if they're turned on, they'll be moved over to the conversion piles. If they're turned off, you can delete them. You don't really want to delete events, so you just want to have the ones you value turned on. It's very exciting, right? Google Analytics, like this is the future, because when you can make data-driven decisions, you make smarter decisions that end up helping you do things in less time overall, right? Because you start to see what people are doing, and so you cater to that. We see a lot of people where they're, we do sell Google Ads, but we see a lot of people, most of the traffic comes from Google Ads or like regular Google organic, right?
Well, and there's another example that I had that I was, we have a client that's another school, and they had a specific targeted landing page that people are going to, and some people were filling it out. But we clued on in our heads, like, hey, there's also an organic that anyone could go and fill out this form. We should be tracking that. And the reason why is because we now can report back to them that they got an extra 3 applicants that went to the ad, didn't convert, Googled them later, and then filled out that form organically. So we could still attribute some of those conversions because the first touch point was the ad. It did get them to go to the landing page, read up on it, and then later on they converted. So it's important for you guys to be able to look at the kind of the holistically the website and how people are converting and how people are finding you.
We want to make analytics more fun and more exciting. It is really cool. Google Analytics is really cool, and it is the best way to move, I think, yourself forward. Because if you're spending money on ads or spending a lot of time doing your marketing, like, to not know that you're having an effect kind of stinks. Like, imagine if you could write a blog post and you picked a phrase that you wanted to show up for, and you wrote all about it, and you poured your heart into it. Yeah. And imagine if you could see not only somebody coming to your website, typing in a keyword that you wrote about, right? The same thing. And then they actually took the action you wanted them to take. Like it's pretty interesting to see, right? Every person that goes to your website is a person doing something, looking for something, right? And we have less than 2 seconds to show them what they're looking for. But that is conversion rate optimization, and another topic. What is the focus that free class you just briefly mentioned? Oh, good question. So every month on, I think, the third Tuesday, we are teaching, and the next one I think Phelan's doing actually is a Google Analytics 4 one. So Phelan, what are you going to be teaching in that class?
It's basically, I'm going to be sharing the screen and showing you where to go to. And that's going to be happening on our YouTube channel for Know How Marketing Lab, which is the course. We'll have announcements in the group when it comes closer to that time, but it'll
Like
be
this,
in two.
yeah. Go
It'll
ahead.
be in 2 weeks on Tuesday.
And
We go ahead.
no, no, I say it after.
Well, I was going to say you also have an announcement to make.
I have several. Number one, our free course, we have moved it over to Kajabi to make it easier for people because Kajabi just looks better. So we do have our free course there. If you are an existing student, we were going to add you in there. So I wanted to get your feedback. I was just wondering, like, conversion tracking can be harder to set up with Tag Manager, but I can include that in the free course if people want it. There's also a video I did about showing the events and conversions. I can share that, but Phelan's going to go into that in 2 weeks. We'll make sure it's plastered in the Facebook group on the weekend promotions when we're going to do it and what we're going to talk about. So yes, and then so there's the free course, the free training, and I'm going to be away for 8 weeks. And Phelan is going to be taking over, and we're going to be doing some interview series with some amazing people. So stay tuned for that, so that we're not leaving ya. I'm not leaving ya. I'm just letting Phelan take over for 8 minutes, 7 episodes. And you're going to talk to some people I would love to be interviewing, but that's a story for another day. We are over time. Come join us next week, next Thursday, 11 a.m., same bad time, same bad place. And what are we talking about? Dun, dun, dun. It is in the top of the Facebook group, if you're wondering, which is, what are we talking about, Phelan? I think
It's
we're email marketing.
error messages with Greg and I.
Oh, super fun about websites. It's a WordPress thing, is it?
No, it's just error message. I mean, I'm sure it's
Error messages sound rather boring, I must say. What is this
but
about?
they're important. We can't all just close down the screen when we get an error message.
Where are we seeing these error messages?
That's what we're going to be going over.
Ah, okay. So join us next week for weird error messages that you want to know about. And I will share the video links in the description of this after. So come back in like 20 minutes to the Facebook group feed. The video will be pinned to the top of the group, and I will have those links there for you. Okay. Have a great day. Lovely to connect, guys. Have a great bye.